Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out the completely new redesigned Toyota Prius in the limited trim level. Now this is the 2023 model, but this will be valid also for 2024. This vehicle sitting on 195/50 Michelin tires wrapped around 19-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Cutting Edge, and it looks like a silver to me, so I'm not sure where they get the Cutting Edge name, but it does look really nice. Now this vehicle has a lot of gloss black around it, and silver and gloss black kind of complement each other, especially kind of gives it like a sporty look. And with this vehicle, a lot of people have mentioned that the front end just looks really sporty. They don't even see Prius when they first see the vehicle. But it is a Prius, and it says that all over the place. Like every little trim piece has to have the name Prius on it. Pretty interesting. But here in the front, it has the parking sensors across the front. You can see they're kind of not really hidden very well. They're kind of loud and proud right there. And then right here, another thing that's kind of loud and proud is this front tag holder. It just kind of takes away from the look here when you don't have a front tag. It looks like something that you could have just had an accessory or something and just leave that out. It'd look a little bit more aerodynamic and cool looking without that front tag holder, I think. And so we do have the active grille shutters there at the bottom, so it kind of controls the airflow. And right in here, you can see this little flat spot is the radar adaptive cruise control, but they kind of tacked in the camera here as well, which is kind of offset, non-symmetrical. It has that 360 camera system, but I don't know, it just seems a little odd to have that offset there in the front. You can see it, it's real obvious, and it works okay, but having it slightly offset, the software has to accommodate for that, and also your eyes have to accommodate that when you're going forward and stuff. The center line is a little bit offset when you see it on the screen, and we'll see that in a little bit. Now it has a lot of accent lights here on the front, similar to the Toyota Corolla, where a lot of lights you would think would be functional, but they're actually just accent lights. Now this one has the single projector headlight system and a separate daytime running light, and I showed this in a night video as well. But the daytime running light is right in here, and it's quite bright right here. But all these other lights, there's a light right in here and down here, and they are just accent lights. They look cool, but they're not helping you at all as far as visibility at night. The headlights can also be improved. Hopefully they'll do an update soon as far as this front end, as far as the headlights, because they can definitely especially the high beams need to be improved. You'll see that in my night video. Looking at the profile, it does have that gloss black in the front that we saw, but also around here on the wheel wells, pretty cool looking. And also the pillar. So this is gloss black, so if you tint the glass here, it kind of solidifies all the glass there. And the upper portion of the side mirror is also gloss black. It has body colored handles and a very sleek, kind of low profile style here. Looking really nice. I do like the way it looks. And then of course these wheels look really nice. Just overall impressive looking vehicle. Here's the key fob, and it's the regular Toyota key fob. Kind of a little bit bulky and not super heavy, but it does have the ability to slide out the physical key here, and then you can leave the fob behind when you're not using it. That's a really handy feature. So it has the lock, unlock, the ability to open up the power lift gate, and then a panic button here. Now it has this Prius here on the other side. It's kind of hard to read, and this whole section right here could have been like a cool picture or colorful or something like that. A little bit of a missed opportunity to kind of make the key fob a little bit different than all the other trucks and other Toyota vehicles, but because that's like a separate little place right there. You can put anything there. But as long as you have the key with you, it's a full proximity key system, and the way it works is it has the lock button right here, indicated by these two little lines, and the unlock is back here. Pretty standard. And then it has a physical key location here on the driver's side only. The doors don't go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle, but they cover most of the threshold and keeping it mostly clean. And it has this little spot right here where the door catches here, this little guy, and then this is for like safety, you know, so this will secure the door if like on a side impact or something. It keeps the door from, you know, crumpling in too much. It gives it a place to hold on to. Also, it's kind of handy when you put your foot on to push, like if you want to use your foot to push the door open. It's kind of a little spot right there. It's kind of neat. Okay, so the inside of the passenger door, it's like a gray and black theme going on here. And this is kind of a soft touch material, not really super soft, but it's kind of soft, like an injection molded type. And then this is like a vinyl type material. The rest of the door is hard touch here and here. This is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket. And then you have the larger pocket there at the bottom. Overall, nice looking door. Nothing standing out as far as like super special. Then we have a manually adjusted seats. It does have a height adjustment here on the passenger side, and these are Softex seats, so it's this, you know, fake leather material here, but it does feel good and it looks good, and they tend to last a long time, the Softex do. These are heated and ventilated seats, has perforations there on the center part, and then the more solid leather, quote unquote leather, on the outsides. So yeah, these look pretty good. They're pretty comfortable as well. You know, no problems, hadn't had any problems with driving it. There's a floorboard, plenty of legroom here in the front. A little bit of tapering up here, but overall pretty good. It's not really the floorboard. There's other things that kind of like give you that claustrophobic feel, especially in the driver's seat. We'll get to that soon. So there's a hard touch surface here, non-locking glove compartment. Smooth plastic on the inside, fairly decent size. And then right in here is kind of like a carbon fiber, I guess, was what they're going for. Look right here. And then the dash is kind of rubbery, soft, non-reflective dash. There's a little accent light here. We'll get, that serves other purposes. We'll get to that in a few minutes. And then this is a hard touch here at the very top. So kind of like step, step, step. And that's part of the, you know, kind of like the sweep of the roof, and then the massive dash kind of gives me, anyway, like a claustrophobic feel sometimes. It does have the sunroof, or glass roofs. There's two of them. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. So the front door just has a regular handle, you know, like you'd find in most vehicles, but the back door, a little bit different. It has this little spot right here, and it's electronically controlled. So there's a little button in here. Press that, it releases the door. But let's just say that electricity, for whatever reason, it's not working. You can press in right here, press that down quite a ways, and it will release the door. So it's a mechanical backup to the electronic part, which is nice. Glad they added that. And it's not too hard. It's not too hard to do, but also you can actually see it. It's like right there, and you don't really have to know, like if this doesn't work, you're like, oh, I must have to press this, right? So it's real easy for even like just somebody who's not familiar with the vehicle to figure it out on the fly. So the inside, you can see the doors don't swing open very wide. So here in the front, it's not a big deal because you have such a wide opening, but here in the back, the door could swing a little bit better. It does have, you know, the roof line. You can see the roof line's kind of slanted there. So, you know, getting in and out of the vehicle, you do have to make sure you're not hitting your head sometimes. Here in the back, it's surprisingly not as bad as the front, really, right there in the front. But, you know, have a little tapering right here. So just the swing of the door could be a little bit wider. I think it'd be better. Inside the back door, we got the hard touch instead. So almost everything except for right in here is the hard touch surfaces. That's enclosed. That's a pocket at the bottom as well. But once again, it's just a gray and black. Nothing popping out, nothing fancy or anything like that. There's a threshold area. And then the back seats, basically a bench seat. This back seats, these right here fold down so you can add to your cargo space. It is a hatchback, which is really nice. But you have these little places for car seats, and they just pop off like that. So it's real easy to lose these, and not kind of unsightly without them. So if they just were to hinge down or have some other way of attaching it, might be a little bit better. These are heated seats back here. Armrests with cup holders. Move that out of the way. And then you can see the heated seat controls are right in here. And also USB charge ports, USB-C charge ports. There's a pocket here on the back of the passenger side, but not the driver's side. So you have the pocket there. The floorboard here in the back has a huge hump in the middle, and you'll see, I mean, it has the exhaust system through there, and you saw that in the very beginning of the video, hopefully. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has a shark fin antenna. And what's cool about this is that it's basically molded in to this piece right here. So typically these shark fin antennas will be like a thing attached to the vehicle, but this is kind of molded in, so kind of has a unique look. And this is the gloss black area, which the glass roof here and glass roof tailgate here, or the lift gate on the hatchback, kind of blends all that in with that gloss black, which is pretty cool. It does have a third brake light. It's right in here at the very end of the spoiler at the bottom of the glass. And the tail lights, really nice. They have really sharp LED lights that go all the way across the vehicle. Really cool looking at nighttime. And it has the amber turn signals, LED of course. But once again, we have this situation where we have these cameras. There's actually two cameras back here. One is for the rear view mirror. Well, this is the rear view camera, and this is the backup camera. But you notice they're offset once again. I'm not sure why they kind of have the offset position, and also they're kind of in that higher position, which is okay. They're okay here. Sometimes they put them down here, which is not good. So having it here is a little bit better. But just, if it was a little bit better integrated and also centered, it would be a lot better in my opinion. Now it does have the parking sensors back here, and once again they're in the silver area. And then it has the reverse lights down here. So there is a reflector down here, and then a reverse light. So there is actually a light down here and then a reflector. So open up the lift gate, or the hatch, however you want to call it. You can just press the button there, or you can use the key, of course. You see it lifts up. And it has the hard plastic here on the underside here. There's a shade here, and it's just intended to just keep people from looking in there or the sun shining on your stuff. Now it does kind of go low, so it limits your height considerably of your cargo space. And it's very, very lightweight. It's very flimsy as well. And it comes off its track sometimes, like just real easy. So when you're driving, sometimes it comes off. So it's not my favorite shade, but it is lightweight and you can get it out of the way when you're not using it. So it folds up like so, and you can just kind of easily move it, and you have a lot more space here. This cargo area, this is how much space you have when the seats are up and when you have passengers in the seats. And it's pretty substantial. The height is a little bit limited because of the angle of the vehicle, but you can see how much room is in here. Now there is a little bit of a space here on the left side. It kind of dips down. Here on the right side, that space is taken up by the battery. So there's a cover here that you can take off, and you can see it has a little battery there. Now this is just the 12-volt battery, it's not the hybrid battery. There's a single light here on the right side, and we'll see how poor that is in the night video. Then we have tie downs as well. Now under this floor, this lifts up, and it's basically like a piece of cardboard type material, very thin. And then you have this just basically straight up white styrofoam filler, basically. And there's a tire inflator kit here. Now you would think with all this styrofoam, you would be able to fit a spare tire in here. So it's probably possible. It just doesn't, it's not included in this particular vehicle. But yeah, that's a lot of room taken up by big old chunky white styrofoam. It looks like you're ordered something in a packaging or something like that. It'd be better if it was black or gray or something like that, but that white styrofoam is kind of ridiculous. Now you can fold these seats down. It's a 60-40 split. Take the shade out and to completely have a wide open space back here for cargo. Just a lot of space, actually. Lowering the power liftgate, you have two buttons. One is to lower the power liftgate. The other one is to lower the power liftgate and lock the doors simultaneously. Let's just go ahead and press this button. There is a locking fuel door, and the fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it has a traditional cap tether and a place to hang the cap here on the inside of the door. And you can use regular fuel, you don't have to use premium. Starting it up, you just press and hold the brake as long as the key's inside the vehicle. Press this button to start it up or turn it off. So let's go, I just turned it off, so let's go ahead and turn it back on. And when you turn it on, of course, most of the time you won't hear the engine running. It'll just say ready, you know. So it's a hybrid. It'll basically allow you to drive the vehicle without the engine initially turning on. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice that this floor mat has hooks, and hooks sit in place so it doesn't slide around on you. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, big footrest there on the left side. So let's take a look under the hood. To raise the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center. So right in here, just reach in, and you kind of reach in and move it to the left and up, like so. So you can see there's the latch right there. And the hood's fairly light. It does require a prop to hold it up, and the prop is on the underside of the hood, and it swings down and goes right there in that oblong shaped hole. Insulation under the hood. There's also seals across the front and back of the engine compartment, and there's heat shielding back there. There's insulation back there on the firewall. There also is, the top of these strut towers are connected with the unibody structure of the vehicle. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So it has a 4-cylinder engine with a hybrid system, and it has, of course, the hybrid system is the transmission. This is the front-wheel drive model. They also make an all-wheel drive model, and they also make the Prius Prime, which is a plug-in hybrid. This is the regular Prius hybrid front-wheel drive, and it gets 52 miles per gallon whether you're on the highway or city. It puts out 194 horsepower in the front-wheel drive model and 139 pound-feet of torque on the engine, and with the hybrid system, it's 152 pound-feet of torque. Now the transmission is technically an eCVT. In other words, it's electronically controlled, continuously variable transmission. It's not like a belt system. A lot of people have issues with the CVT because they don't like the way it feels or whatever, but it's typically the belt system that people were talking about. This is an eCVT. In other words, just an electric motor that's not bound by gears, stepped gear ratios. It does have the blind spot detection system and the indicators here on the side mirror, integrated actually in the mirror right there. It'll illuminate when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. The inside of the driver's door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. You have 2 presets for the power seat here for the driver, and the windows are one touch up and down. They are laminated glass as well. Now the back windows, press those, they're not laminated and they go all the way down. Some vehicles, they kind of stop before they go all the way down. But yeah, the one touch is really nice on all 4 windows. And then there's the door lock. Side mirrors are controlled here as well. And then a power seat here for the driver and a 2-way lumbar adjustment. To the left of the steering column, we saw the button to release the fuel door, but there's the ability to open up the power liftgate. There's a blank there, another blank, and then we have the ability to quickly turn on and off the automatic high beams, because they sometimes have issues. And then this is a heater, actually, that heats up underneath the windshield wipers to release them if they're frozen. This is the heated steering wheel, so it has on and off. All these have on and off lights, which is nice. There's also a dimmer switch for the interior gauges here, and then reset the trip. You can also switch between the odometer and the trip here as well. There's a tilt telescoping steering column, and there's only a few positions that we can leave this at, so I'll explain that in a second. That's how you lock it in place. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall, And I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down to give you an idea of the potential legroom. Now this is a little bit further back than what I would normally drive, so if you're a little bit over 6 feet, shouldn't have any problems as far as legroom. This area right here is a hard plastic, and it kind of jets out a little bit right in here, so kind of sometimes if I rest my knee on it, it's not very comfortable. And I do have to put the seat all the way down because of the headroom situation. It's a little bit not ideal, but so I could lift the seat a little bit higher, but for me I have to put it down, which is, it feels like I'm sitting on the floor basically. Back over here is fine as far as legroom. And the angle of the footrest is good. Now the steering wheel, the feel of it and thickness is really nice. It has a soft feel to it. It gives in the hand. It's not digging into your bones or whatever while you're driving. It's just really nice. One of the best feeling steering wheels. Feels really nice. Now, the buttons on the steering wheel are quite a bit different from the normal Toyotas from the past. The cruise control, instead of being on a stalk down here, it's up here, so you turn it on, and then this is how you turn it on and set it at the same time, this button at the top. And then you can change to the speed here, resume. You can turn on the lane keep assist system as well. And you can change through the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you using this button, and it cycles through. Now, if you want, like, cycles through the distance, and you kind of rest on the one that you want. So if you just want regular cruise control, see, it has these separate buttons here. So adaptive cruise control or cruise control. So you can press that button and it shows you up here what you're activating. So if you just want regular cruise control without the adaptive part, you can do that as well, which is good. So you notice that's the cruise control. Below it down here, this section is a little bit different. That's with the radio. So the volume for the radio is up and down here, voice recognition, change to the tracks, and then the audio source. Your mode is your audio, change to the audio source, and once again you rest on the one that you want. But the volume here, we'll get to that in a minute, but there's no ability to press in or pause or mute. It's just a volume, and it kind of works a little slow. And the volume knob isn't all that easy to reach, so that's something to consider. We'll go into that a little bit more. These arrows right here and this back button corresponds with the screen up here, and then you have a button to answer or hang up. So once you pair your phone with the Bluetooth system, you can answer here or hang up using the same button. I wish they would have separated the buttons, but that's just the way it is. A lot of vehicles are like that though. There's the windshield wiper controls here, and there is an automatic function, so it does have the rain sensing windshield wipers. And then here is the turn signal, but it also has the headlight switch. And you can actually turn off the headlights. Automatic parking and headlights on. Okay, so you see a problem right now. You see that steering wheel, and then you see what it's covering up. This vehicle, I'm going to release let me just show you what it looks like to me. So when the steering wheel is all the way down, this is what it looks like. And when it's all the way up, this is what it looks like. Also, there's buttons that you see, these stalks, the turn signal and the windshield wiper stalks are always covering up these buttons. So you have the buttons here on the left side here that are covered up. It's really hard for me to show them here because there's so many layers of obstacles. And then here on the right side, this is an important button, this button here for turning on the camera system. I use that all the time, and I have to, like, go like this in order to find it and then press the button. It's not easily found. And then this is the park in, park out feature. Now, so adjusting the steering wheel, once again, we have these, the way the position is, for me, I have to pull it out and then push it all the way down and lock it in place there. And still, it's still an issue as far as seeing this, because this is kind of far away and it's right. It's like almost perfectly lined up with the top of the steering wheel. I'm not sure. I think this is going to be an issue for like almost everybody, because there's, like, if I was any shorter, like, it would be a huge problem, So I don't know. You'd have to be like not be able to see the road to see it under the steering wheel. So that's not really an issue, so a solution. So because this goes all the way up. But anyways, we'll get past that. There is the screen. And the OK button and the arrows here, you can cycle through and get different information here. The top one here is the Eco. You can go left to right to get more information. Scrolling down, this will be digital compass, adaptive cruise control. Down here, whatever your radio is playing here. Down again will be engine monitor, and then the tire pressure sensor system. Now the engine monitor is not showing anything right now, but as you drive, you'll be able to see little lines where the power is coming from, whether it's coming from the battery to the wheels, or the engine to the battery, or the engine to the wheels, and all that stuff. And it constantly changes while you're driving. It's kind of neat to watch it. You also have the trip here. So tire pressure, energy monitor, and trip. Going down again will be, this is where you can go in and change settings. You press hold to change the different settings, but you can see the status of different safety features here. You can also go into meter settings, and you can change the language, units, and change the meter type. And then the hybrid system, you can turn that feature on or off. Now meter is basically this display is what it's going for. That's what it means. Alright, and then you scroll down here, any stored messages will show up there. So you can see that this additional information is here. And you can scroll through and leave whatever you want on. But it also has a digital speedometer, it has a digital clock, distance to empty, fuel gauge, all the necessary information there, and also gives you information while you're driving as well. You can also hit the back button and make that whole thing go away and just have this part. So if you don't want anything there, you can just have this simplified version here if you want. Okay, so the touch screen over here, you notice the position of the volume knob is way over here. So as I'm sitting right here in the driver's seat and I reach out, you know, I have to significantly reach way over here. It's very convenient for the passenger, but I'm not sure. And of course you can use this button, but like I said, this volume knob does more than just turn the volume. It is more convenient to turn a knob, especially if you're in a hurry. You can quickly turn it, you know, up and down or whatever. But also you press it in to mute the sound. So if you're pulling up to a, you know, whatever, and you want to mute the sound, you have to reach over there and press that button, or you hold this down for, like, you know, a long period of time and eventually get the volume low enough, but then you have to hold it back up to bring it back up. So, you know, if this button were to have the mute function just like the knob over there, then it would be a little bit less of an issue. But having the knob way over there seems a little weird, you know. So you can let me know what you think in the comments. All right, so this has the type of system. They used to say this has been reimagined or whatever. The navigation has been reimagined. Now they change it to Experience Drive Connect. Okay, which makes more sense because this Drive Connect is the app on your cell phone, and you have to subscribe to certain features. So if you want navigation, you just can't get in this vehicle. This vehicle doesn't have navigation. Your cell phone has features that can complement this system. So it's gonna appear once you subscribe that this vehicle has navigation, but until you subscribe and install apps and things like that, if you don't have a cell phone, this car does not have navigation. I'll just say it that way. All right, so the next one here, so you see these icons, and you can kind of quickly go through. So the navigation would be there. This would be whatever your audio is going on. So you have radio, have my cell phone here, you have Apple Music, Amazon Music. So let's go to the radio so you can see what it looks like, and you have different tiles there. You can tune directly. You have AM, FM. Turn the volume down here. So yeah, there's different sources here that you can choose. And then you have, let's go to satellite radio. And then you can see I can kind of narrow it down, because satellite radio has a lot of different channels, so you have to kind of narrow it down. Next one will be your phone. So you can, once you pair your phone, you'll have access to the recent calls, the phone book, and all that stuff. I have it disconnected right now, but you'll be able to, you know, basically send and receive calls and send and receive texts, that kind of thing. The next one is information about your vehicle. You can go to front and rear climate controls. You have different options here. It is a little bit different from the settings, which is on the next one. You have trip information. You have the history here. 47. Not too bad. Energy flows, you can keep an eye on that. That's pretty neat. It's similar to what we saw over here on that screen, but this is larger and more detailed. Vehicle alerts, any information would show up here. The next one, the last one on the cog, is this is where you can go in and set up your settings. So Bluetooth devices, you have general settings, like so. You also have display settings, sound and multimedia, voice and search, customize the vehicle. So yeah, you have to kind of go into the general setting that you want before you can find more specific settings. And sometimes they're, you know, like vehicle customization, lights, door control, all this stuff. You want to go ahead and set this up when you first get the vehicle. Lights are here. And speaking of lights, it has this kind of ambient light right here. It's kind of neat looking accent, more of an accent light really. It's not really usable for any kind of like visual seeing anything. But it does have another purpose, and that is like it alerts you. So it'll flash sometimes. So if you're sitting in traffic and then the person in front of you moves forward and you're just sitting there and you didn't notice that they moved, you're like not paying attention, this will kind of pulse and flash a little bit to get your attention. So it does serve other purposes than just a neat looking light. Alright, so there's the four-way flashers, and then the climate control is here. It's a single zone, so temperature, fan speed, where you want the air to blow. You also have the front and rear defrosters. You can change whether you want to recirculate the air, turn on the air conditioning. The passenger side, cooled seat, 3-stage, heated seat, 3-stage, and then the driver, same thing, 3-stage heated and cooled seat. And it does have an automatic function, but it's not a dual zone or tri-zone or anything like that. It's just one temperature and one fan speed at a time. Alright, so down here is the 12-volt power supply, 2 USB ports. One is for charging, one is for connectivity. And then it has this really handy little storage pocket right here. It's kind of rubberized there in the bottom. There's no illumination down here. That's kind of a spoiler for the night video, but it does have this little storage area. Now underneath it has like a secret compartment where you can put your valuables. So you can actually take this out and you have a secret compartment there. Put a bunch of valuables in there. Looks like somebody forgot to clean up behind themselves. Left a mess. Have to deal with that later. Then you have cup holders here, little articulating arms. And so here's the shifter. And it's just like the Prius shifters in the past, but it's in a different location. It looks kind of more neat looking. But basically you move it over down to drive. Move it over and hold it to neutral. Move it over, push it forward for reverse. And then if you want the downhill descent, the engine braking, so there's only like one option, and that is you pull it down, and this is like if you're in drive and then you pull it down and initiate the engine braking. So this is more handy for like if you're going down hills and you need some engine braking. It's basically using the regen system to slow the vehicle down. Now the regen system's already automatically on, but this gives it an extra boost in order to keep your vehicle from just flying down a hill. So it's technically what they would call another gear, like reverse, neutral, drive, that kind of thing. So that's what that basically is for going down a hill and keeping your vehicle from, you know, running too fast or whatever. But let's go ahead and put it back in reverse, because the parking sensors are activated, but also you have this really nice camera system. So you have this top-down view here on the left side. You also have the view behind the vehicle. You notice the center line is here. It's not in the very center because, once again, the camera is not in the center. So we have to add this line to show you where the actual center of the vehicle is. So it's trying to accommodate for that. And the same thing with stitching all these 4 views. There's a camera on the underside of each side mirror, and there's one in the front that's offset, one in the back that's offset. So it has to, the software system has to accommodate for the position of the cameras to stitch that view together, that top-down view. And it seems to work pretty good. Another cool feature about this is when you move, it actually memorizes what it saw in the front and back and kind of like gives you like this transparent look to your vehicle. Really cool looking. It has active guidelines and also different views. So going forward, you can have the view in front of the vehicle. But you'll notice that where the position of the camera is located, it's kind of in this little tunnel area. It looks like a tunnel because you're getting up things in the way. You know, the position of the camera, I always pay attention to that because they always kind of put it in this place where it looks like it's an aftermarket or an afterthought. It's not really thought through, in my opinion, sometimes where they put these cameras. The position of the camera is very important, you know. Like you know, let's say I'm showing you the screen and I got the camera over here, you know. It's like, well, how about you know, how the position of the camera is more important for me to show you the screen this way, not like way over here, right? So the position of the camera makes a difference as far as your usability and also the vehicle, like especially if you have a stitching system or if you have guidelines, that kind of thing. You know, it just makes sense to have it in the center of the vehicle. But anyways, you do have the ability to, you have different settings here. This is more like kind of like a drone's following your vehicle. Press it in to go back to the front view. You can also turn on or off these like lines right here. You can choose what you want to have. This right here is my favorite. You can turn the automatic function on. So as you're driving, I leave it on because as you're driving and you slow down, it automatically, if you're going really slow and you're pulling into a parking spot, it automatically turns this camera on, whether you're going forward or whatever. Really like to have that turn on. It's really handy sometimes, especially if you want to nail the parking spot or if you just want to see what's right around the vehicle or you're in a tight spot. Instead of trying to hunt and find that button, you just automatically have it turned on, which is great. So yeah, I really do like the camera system. It's functional, it's big enough, you can see it, the clarity's good. The position of cameras can be better, but you know, I'm starting to get used to it because it seems like almost all manufacturers tend to mess that up. Even when they have a chance to do like a refresh or completely redesign, and they still don't take into account that they're gonna have a camera there. But anyways, so yeah, you just press this button to put it in park here. The traction control off, if you need to spin tires, you turn that off. I don't recommend turning it off unless you like literally need to spin tires, because it could make you lose control of the vehicle if you're not familiar with driving a vehicle without traction control. This vehicle tends to slip a lot, so the traction control is enabled a lot when I'm, if I'm driving spiritedly. So if I were to have to turn that off, then yeah, it would do some more spinning, I would suppose. Now you can force the vehicle to go into EV mode. Now this is a front-wheel drive vehicle, and it is not the Prime. So if this was the Prime, then you'd have more of a range. But this one, it doesn't really have much. You can't, like, if you push the accelerator too hard, it's just going to just override this anyway. So you can force it into EV mode for whatever reason. If you want to sneak up on somebody and you want the engine to turn on abruptly, you can do that, but it's not really that useful. Electronic parking brakes here, you lift it up to engage it. It engages the rear wheels. To disengage it, hold the brake, press it down. Now when you put it in park, it automatically engages it anyway. So, but for whatever reason, if you need to engage it, you can. And this is the brake hold feature, which every time you come to a complete stop, it'll hold the brakes for you until you hit the accelerator. All right, so here's the armrest, and this is like the hardest armrest of all time. It feels like you have like 1 millimeter of padding and then an anvil underneath. So yeah, it's not really super comfortable. It looks nice though. And then this lifts up here and it is spring loaded, so it doesn't flop back down on you. And it has this compartment here, and I put there's my business cards in the way, but it does have a felt lining there at the bottom that's black, so it's hard to see. And then you have 2 USB charge ports, which are backlit, but there's no interior lights here. Now there is a wireless cell phone charger right here, which is pretty cool. It has these little arms that kind of hold on to your cell phone. So as you put your cell phone in there, you can move it this way, but if you rest it this way, it'll charge. Now, with my case, sometimes the case that I have on my phone, sometimes it'll charge, sometimes it won't. But yeah, right in here is the cell phone charger, and there is a on and off button here. So if you want to stop charging your cell phone, sometimes you don't always want to charge your cell phone, right? But you want to use this pocket. You can put it in there. You just turn it off, and you don't have to charge it. But you can also press the button and turn it on. So you see this little space right in here? There's a little tiny bit of space right here on the underside of this armrest. When you close it, if you line up a wire to go into this compartment, right there, it'll go in and out of this compartment. But that's pretty much it. Everywhere else is kind of closed off pretty good. It might pinch the wire. But yeah, apparently that's what that's for, is to put the wire in this compartment. Okay, so the backup, this is a camera, and then there's the mirror. Remember I mentioned that? And then there's the camera here, and it works really good. As long as your eyes can focus on it, because, you know, as you get older, it's hard to focus on things that are close. So as you're driving, you have that to focus on, you have that to focus on, and this to focus on, 3 different distances. So unless you have, like, you know, transition glasses or whatever, sometimes I've had issues where my eyes had a hard time adjusting on this because it was a little bit too close. But, you know, and this is an upgrade. So if this doesn't work for you, you don't have to buy it. This is an actual upgrade, and like $200 or something on the window sticker. So if you don't want this rear view camera, you don't have to have it. It does have adjustments here. You can adjust the zoom in, go up and down, adjust the brightness and all that using those buttons. The buttons here on the left side is the Home Link garage door opener controls. All right, and then there's these soft touch buttons for the lights here, turn on all the interior lights, and then have them turn on with the door using that button. If you don't want the interior lights turn on with the door, you can turn that off. That's the on light. And then they have roadside assistance here, and it's covered up. All right, so this visor has like a vinyl material that matches the roof, which is like a beige type material color. And it has this extension here. It also has a light with a mirror, but you notice right in here is like a place that you can put your registration or driver's license right in here. It kind of slides in this little spot right here, which is cool. I like it. Same thing on the passenger. It has it on both sides. So this does not slide out. You know, it has this extension instead. And the vinyl is nice because it stays you can clean it easier. So if you're touching it a lot and your hands are dirty or whatever and you get marks on it, it's easy to clean. The headliner is a cloth. So some visors have like a cloth material, a little bit harder to clean. This is very easy to clean, that vinyl material. Okay, so it has glass roofs, 2 of them. So these are not sunroofs. They're not going to slide. They're not going to tilt. They're just fixed glass. And it has shade that covers 100% of the light. But they're quite wide. They look pretty cool. There on the back has a shade as well, so has a separate shade. But you notice it has like this bar right here. See, if it was like the way it was designed a little bit better, where it didn't have this huge, you know, thing here in the center, I think it'd be better. But anyway, that's the way it is. The visibility front and back is a little bit of a challenge sometimes. So you have these really wide pillars there in the back. You have these pillars here on the side, and then you have these pillars here on the front, and also the dash just kind of gets in the way. Like it's a humongous dash here in the front. So yeah, and also this sticks up, so it's kind of in your way a lot. So yeah, the visibility has some issues, but it has a great camera system, parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system. It has a lot of really good technology features to help you drive the vehicle. But just sitting in the driver's seat, looking around, it's got some issues for sure. Okay, so I'm trying to position this camera so you can see, hopefully see the screen up here. It's almost completely, or it's partially blocked by my view. Drive modes. It has Sport, Custom, Normal, and Eco. Normal is on the weak side, I guess, because it's a Prius, so I guess they're trying to go for the fuel economy and stuff. Sport mode, if you really want to accelerate, then sport mode is actually a big difference. It actually does make a difference. It is pretty fast vehicle, actually. It's kind of loud and to some degree obnoxious when you're driving it, but it does accelerate pretty quick. And also when it cycles to the EV part, you do have like this artificial noise that it broadcasts around the vehicle, so other people, I guess, so know that there's a vehicle running or whatever. But you know, it's pretty common, but it does kind of get a little bit of annoying cycling back and forth, where you hear the noise, then you don't hear the noise, then you hear the engine, you don't hear the engine, and the engine is quite loud. So yeah, it has that that CVT type experience, and it doesn't have any fake shifting or anything, which is good. It just has, you know, full-on steady acceleration, and then you just let off of it when you want to let off of it. There is road noise, there is wind noise, there's engine noise, there's EV noise. So, you know, if you want a quiet vehicle, this is not really going to be maybe your top choice, but this is a fairly comfortable ride. The seats are comfortable. As long as you're okay with the wonkiness over here, as far as, you know, seeing the screen in front of you and different things. The steering wheel is comfortable. The adaptive cruise control works well. It feels safe, feels reliable. The automatic high beams aren't all that great, but they work most of the time. Of course, the vehicle looks good, but the driving experience is I don't know, I think it's going to polarize some people. You know, some people might not care for some of the characteristics. Noise I think is going to be one thing that's going to turn some people off. Some people don't care, you know, but like in my case, as far as the noise level, I probably would just get used to it. You know, it's not a huge deal to me, but other people are more sensitive to noise and stuff, so they might be more inclined to pass on this vehicle. Now, the lane keep assist system, it's actually called the lane tracing, and it does a pretty good job without fighting you, you know. So it stays and traces. It uses a lot of different technology. One is to look at the lines, but it also can look at vehicles in front of you as well, and kind of like, you know, tie everything together. So it does a decent job of staying in a position in the road that's normal, not some weird, you know, swerving type thing that some vehicles have. And it doesn't fight you. See, that's a big thing to me, is it's fighting against you as you're driving. It doesn't really do that. So the lane tracing system works well. And the adaptive cruise control, pretty much all the different levels as far as the distance between me and the vehicle in front of me, it seems pretty safe. You know, it adapts to the different speeds, and it adapts the distance and all that stuff. So if I set it at I typically have it at like 3 bars, two or 3 bars typically, and it's a safe distance. It keeps, you know, there's no problems with that. Now the deal breakers for me would be that claustrophobic feel that I get because of all this stuff in front of me and all the layers and things blocking views of other things. The noise could potentially be a deal breaker, and me sitting on the floor, basically, like I don't feel like I'm sitting in a chair. I feel like I'm sitting on the floor with my feet in front of me. But other than that, I mean, there's so many positives to say about this vehicle. It looks great. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It just looks really good. And you know, if it was quieter, the engine just kind of like reminds you that this is not a. It's a Toyota, you know. Toyota, Lexus, they're gonna be loud. That's just the way it is. They've always been like that. They apparently are not trying to change it. So, something to consider.